unsettling, if by now familiar, view of America just days before the election, and Phoenix, Arizona. On full display, the country's deep political divide. A loudly pro-Clinton crowd shouting in Spanish, "Yes, we can," takes on, across the way, those who are vociferously pro-Trump.
You're the fascists! You're the ones! Stop yelling at us!
It's a scene that leaves even the many who've turned out uncertain their country can ever bridge the chasm, no matter who wins next Tuesday.
What do you think about the divide in this country that this campaign seems to have shown us?
Honestly, it makes me sad. I honestly don't have words for it.
Arizona's hardly the place in America you'd expect such tension. It's voted Republican every presidential election but one since 1948. But like the country itself, Arizona's population is changing, with its growing number of Hispanic Americans generally tilting toward Democrats. So too, Arizona's politics are changing. Donald Trump signs now fight for space with Hillary Clinton's, and the once sure-bet Republican state is suddenly now too close to call. But with two candidates as polarizing as Trump and Clinton, the contest in Arizona, as in much of America, has turned ugly. Consider what happened in September at the Arizona Republic newspaper. Never in its 126-year history had it endorsed for president anyone other than a Republican. But this year, it deemed Donald Trump unfit to serve and endorsed a Democrat, Hillary Clinton.
The first death threat came about 9 the morning we published in print. A young woman answered the phone, and this caller said, he said, "You sound like you're too young to remember Don Bowles."
Evoking the name Don Bowles was itself a powerful weapon. Once a journalist with the paper, he was murdered in a car bombing 40 years ago while investigating the mafia. On the day of the Clinton endorsement in September, the anonymous caller continued.
He said, "Because of your endorsement, more of your reporters are going to be blown up in car bombs." Horrifying, terroristic, unacceptable. I was so, again, just appalled, almost embarrassed that we're at this place where people could be so incredibly angry, so mean, so vile against people who who disagree with them, but who look differently, who speak differently, who come from a different place.
And there were more threats against the paper that followed.
It's a dark time. I think that there's so much anger and vitriol and unhappiness, and it won't go away after the election. It doesn't just magically disappear.
Don't worry, we're building the wall, don't worry.
Trump's call for a wall along the Mexican border to keep out, as Trump puts it, the rapists and drug smugglers moving north has resonated with millions of Americans. But equally, his blunt approach has angered and saddened countless others, especially in Arizona. Among them, Phoenix-born Linda Mason Gutierrez.
I took it very personally when he came out and said that Mexicans were rapists, that they were criminals. That went hard and deep to the core for myself because I am Mexican American.
When Mason Gutierrez hears a crowd of fellow Americans chanting, "Build that wall," it turns her stomach.
You incite hatred, you're going to get hatred. I don't want to speak about it in terms of fear, but I do want to speak about it in terms of reality. It has me deeply concerned. I'm the mother of 4 children, and granted they're adult children, but I do worry about my children. I do worry about them being profiled. I worry about them being used as target practice.
Is this really where the country's going? These videos were both shot in Tucson one day in March.
documented both illegal immigrants, but mainly drug packers coming through our ranch.
This election may have divided America, but Jim Chilton underlines there's a reason he backs Trump. On Jim's ranch in southern Arizona, Trump's rallying cries found a welcome audience. There are so many drug smugglers passing through his land. He's put up signs in English and Spanish. Please close the gate. Though oftentimes they simply cut through the fencing. This one's been repaired. And nearby, we find a discarded energy drink.
Yeah, it's in Spanish.
And what does that tell you then?
This tells me that a Mexican cartel person threw it down here, and look, it hasn't been opened.
Down the road a ways, a kind of abandoned campsite with an old blanket left behind, a toothbrush, toilet paper, and a mask. Not convinced? Jim's put motion detection cameras throughout his ranch. Here's what they found. What appears to be migrants or smugglers making their way through his land. He's got video of more than 200 of them. Together, we walk the last few hundred meters toward Mexico. Is this the actual, literal border?
This is the international boundary. It's nothing but a 4-strand barbed wire fence.
On the Mexican side, tire tracks and footpaths leading toward Arizona.
Thought I saw a guy on horseback.
Jim's always on the alert here. This time, it's a false alarm. When you heard Donald Trump utter the words, he's going to build a wall, what went through your mind?
I was elated. I'm for Trump. This is what we need.
Jim considers himself living in a land occupied by foreigners. He even leaves water out for them. His view, too many people denigrate Trump for his approach, for the language he uses, but in so doing, they miss the point.
It's outrageous. We should have a thoughtful, interesting debate on issues. And it's all come down to, oh, Trump isn't fit to be president. Now, is that an issue? No. We have the immigration issue, which we need to solve.
And are you voting Democrat this year?
And so it is that views on both sides in this election are firmly held. Volunteers for Clinton.
Helping us out with a volunteer shift.
And down the street for Trump.
Can we count on you to return your ballot for Republicans right away?
Work hard to get out the vote.
Along with the rest of your local Republicans. And
aware that on both sides, the divide is deep.
I would definitely describe it as a silent but second civil war. I think that there's a huge divide within our country. And, you know, it's unfortunate to see that there's violence at Donald Trump's rallies. It's not American to do that. That is not what we advocate at all. We advocate unity and respect towards each other, and that's what makes us America.
You might have noticed this volunteer from that noisy demonstration earlier.
I support Trump fully!
Inside that rally, even Trump backers were dismayed by the America this campaign has exposed.
It's very sad. I've never seen the country so polarized and divided.
It makes me very sad. I'm very sad about what's going on in my country.
Talk about conservative values. Talk about government that's failed them.
But before long, as Donald Trump Jr. takes the stage,
lock her up! Lock Hillary up!
The crowd reinforces the divide, chanting, "Lock her up." So what's a country to do? For Arizonans who see Donald Trump and his incendiary views as a key part of the problem, the way forward for America is simple. Don't vote Trump.
You can't give up the hope that somehow tomorrow's going to be a better day. But you got to get in there. We got to go out there and we've got to vote, and we need to make our voices heard.
But even if Trump loses, America will be a complicated place.
People who believe very strongly in Mr. Trump will still be here, and they're part of our community and they're part of our country, and the issues that they had and the concerns that they have and the anger that they have will still be there. And I don't think it's not going to be sunshine and roses that next day.
With those on all sides now wondering, can the country ever come together?
We have to.
And if not?
I won't speculate on what would happen if not.
One country, but as this election season has underlined, it's a nation divided. Paul Hunter, CBC News, at the U.S.-Mexican border in Arizona.